Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Philadelphia Eagles Now. Happy Monday here on the channel. We're getting to a lot of great stuff in terms of Eagles news and rumors. First, drop a like down below if Howie Roseman, our GM, has earned back your trust. I know a lot of people were kind of wavering in their trust of him the past couple of seasons, dating back to firing of Doug Peterson, but we're going to talk about the offseason, some of the news and rumors from that over the past couple of months on today's video, and I think the trust is coming back for Howie Roseman. Drop a like if you guys go ahead and agree. Now, before we jump into the latest Eagles news and rumors, quick shout out to Tyrone Williams, who had a $2 super chat in the comment section of our video last week, which you see on your screen right now. Really appreciate that. One way to support the channel is by doing some super chats, and a little incentive that we do for you is that if you do give a super chat, then you obviously get a shout out at the very beginning of the video. So shout out to Eagle fan Tyrone Williams for the super chat and for following the channel. I jumped into the latest Eagles news and rumors here on a Monday, beginning with Peter King and his recent top 10 power rankings that saw the Philadelphia Eagles inside the top 10. How about that? Inside the top 10. We're going to show you the top 10 here in just one second. First, though, this is a very good list, and I'm not going to look at the entire, 32 list in terms of teams. You can Google that and find that, but I think Peter King is very accurate. There are a lot of times you see these power rankings where teams are too high, too low, trying to get a take out of some of the fans there, trying to get people to snap back, get some, good, bad publicity regarding the article, but I think Peter King did a great job. Also, really nice guy in person. Has some wild stuff on Twitter, but I met him in person. Very nice guy overall. Very good, one of those classic NFL reporters. Listen, Philadelphia had a great offseason. It's no surprise the Eagles are a top 10 team. They should be on this list regarding the roster. Now, what they do with that action on the football field remains to be seen, but I think Philadelphia is really, really good and shows it by being in the top 10 of this new power ranking. So here is Peter King's top 5. Let's go through it. Buffalo 1, totally agree. Chargers 2, totally agree. They had a great offseason. They missed the playoffs, but had a great offseason. Chiefs 3, I agree. Rams 4, I agree. Packers 5, I agree. I mean, literally, I think the top 5 is basically perfect. Now, could you swap, maybe the Rams with the Chargers because they run the Super Bowl? Sure, that's fine. But I think overall, very accurate top 5. And I think their, number 6 through 10 is accurate too. Bucks there at number 6, still an elite football team led by Tom Brady. Bengals, can they repeat? They still have some question marks in terms of the overall, I'd say, offensive line and maybe a little bit of depth on defense, but they went to the Super Bowl, and they have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, so fantastic. Baltimore at 8. Baltimore's roster is really good. They also had a fantastic offseason. I think them and Philadelphia had one of the better drafts of the National Football League. Eagles sitting there at number 9. Fine with that. And San Francisco. You get the great head coach in Kyle Shanahan paired with the great roster, and then, of course, maybe a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. Who knows? Again, I think this is a very, very good overall top 10. Now, Peter King, of course, writes about each team in his article regarding their position in his rankings, and here's what he said about Philadelphia. I agree with everything he says. Listen to this. Quote, I see the Eagles as the best team in the East. I see Jalen Hurts doing enough to be a C-plus quarterback with the addition of A.J. Brown. I see the receiving core are Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, and Zach Pascal being good enough to make the Eagles a top 10 offense. I see Hassan Reddick returning to the scene of his prime. He played college football at Temple. And James Bradberry fortifying a corner depth chart to make this the best defense in the NFC East. He would go on to say, quote, the Eagles are better on both sides of the ball than they were in January, and that was capped by the Bradberry signing. In the end, they have a chance to win a game in January. The biggest addition was Brown. I think he can be the difference in 2 or 3 games. Quote, A.J. Brown was a DNA match for us. Roseman told me after the trade, he was exactly what we were looking for in a receiver, and he matched our culture. Good ad, end quote. I mean, there's not much to say here. He basically just summed up everything I've been saying for the past couple of weeks. Welcome to the new reality, everyone. Like, everyone in the National Football League, it's impossible to look at Philadelphia's roster and still discredit them. Your only chance at seeing a talking head legitimately criticize the current Philadelphia Eagles is the quarterback in Jalen Hurts. And you saw Peter King do that here briefly, saying that, a C-plus quarterback in terms of what Hurts is able to do. So that means if he's a B-plus quarterback, are you winning 12 games? Because this roster is ready to rock. I mean, it is great top to bottom. Top 5 offensive line, top 5 defensive line, much improved linebacker core, top 5 secondary in terms of cornerbacks. I mean, the running game is going to be great. This is a top 5 receiving core in the National Football League. Like, they're great everywhere. And so the only way that a talking head on ESPN or Fox Sports can legitimately rip the Philadelphia Eagles right now, without playing football games, without seeing training camp, is by diminishing Jalen Hurts, which, of course, many people will do, and it's up to Jalen Hurts now to take all of these toys and all of these tools and all of these depth charts around him and go, you know what, I'm going to improve my game, therefore elevating everybody else and creating a very dangerous football team in the end. So it's fun. I like this kind of stuff. I'm not a big power ranking guy, but I like to see legit power rankings, accurate power rankings, and this to me is one that actually takes into account how good of an offseason Philadelphia had, which it's hard to argue that it was anything short of an A+ by the front office. Add right pin comment down below. Are the Eagles a top 10 team in the National Football League? If you agree, type Y down below for yes. If you do not, go ahead and type N down below for no. Now, the architect of this great offseason has been general manager Howie Roseman. And now we knew Howie Roseman got a lot of extra power once they let go and fired Doug Peterson just 2 seasons ago. However, the Philadelphia Inquirer has a very interesting article out right now talking about how Howie Roseman has complete control. Like, normally it was Doug Peterson plus Howie Roseman plus Jeffrey Lurie back during the Super Bowl years. Then it became, Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie, a 1-2 punch. Now it's just Howie Roseman. Jeffrey Lurie has apparently taken a step back and said, Howie, this is your team. This is your offseason. Run it as you will. And you saw what he was able to do in terms of the offseason. Philadelphia having one of their best offseasons in a very, very long time. And for all the hate that Roseman gets, and rightfully so, it's, as we talked about in the beginning of the video, I think the love for him is starting to come back after what we saw him do this offseason. Here was the Philly Inquirer in that article on Howie Roseman, quote, according to 2 NFL sources, that's exactly what has happened. The early returns seem good. Often the least popular figure in Philadelphia sports, Roseman is riding a wave of support unlike anything he has ever enjoyed. Even as his staff undergoes a massive upheaval, if you like the job he's doing, then give him full credit because, according to the sources today, he's less influenced by others than ever. That includes his boss, owner Jeffrey Lurie, end quote. And that leads us right into the additions that he has done this offseason, because you can go back and you can rip draft picks, you can rip free agent signings, you can rip moves that he has made, you can rip him getting rid of Doug Peterson, but you can't rip this stuff. I mean, look at this. Hassan Reddick, one of the best pass rushers in free agency, an instant 9, 10, maybe even double-digit sack addition. Zach Pascal, a depth wide receiver who has a lot of upside to be a 3 or a 4 on this roster. A.J. Brown, a true number 1, which he got for essentially a first-round draft pick. James Bradberry, a true number 1 cornerback to go alongside your number 1 cornerback in Darius Slay. You got Kazir White finally upgrading the outside linebacker position, adding depth at a much-needed linebacker position in free agency. And the draft picks, which we've gone through. I mean, Jordan Davis, the best D-tackle in this draft, one of the better ones to come out of the National Football League in a while. You get the best center, or at least the best center in terms of replacement for Jason Kelce, a hand-picked guy by the future Hall of Famer. Nakobe Dean, the steal of the draft, hopefully at linebacker, again, addressing a position he wouldn't normally do in the past. And Kyron Johnson, again, who knows what he becomes, but maybe a depth pass rusher on the outside. This has been an incredible offseason, and if the Eagles are successful this year, it's going to be largely in part to what they've been able to do from a front opposition, and you got to give credit to Howie Roseman in doing that. Grade the Eagles offseason. We've asked this before, but let me see it again. A, B, C, D, or F. I don't see how you go anything below an A. Maybe you can say A minus because there's still some safety. We need with safety, but other than that, this to me is an A offseason. Let me see what you guys think in the comment section. I'm trying to think of a better offseason. Like, as you guys are giving your grades just quickly here, like, this has been the best offseason in recent history. I remember the Dream Team offseason when I was a kid, and I was glued to the TV during free agency, and they made all these great moves, and it was like, oh my gosh, you got Colin Jenkins and Nnamdi Asomugha, like, this team's gonna rock, and then, of course, it didn't. I just can't think of one as equivalent, as big as what this one was this offseason, though. Especially in recent history. Like, Philadelphia always makes a move. Like, there's always a splash somewhere. But in terms of, like, real production on both sides of the football, they didn't just get little, depth pieces. They got legit starters everywhere. I think this is one of the better ones I've seen in a long time. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap up with some TJ Edwards quote here in just 1 second. First, we are, less than 400 away or less than 500 away from 30K subs. We keep growing here at a crazy rate. And let me say this. The numbers on the videos recently, 20K each video has been insane. I appreciate that. So if you guys want to help us get to 30K, be one of the 29,541 currently subscribed to the channel, go down below and hit that red button. And also, shout out to James Gaming 320, who commented on our last video 224 times. A new record here on the channel. 224 times. Jeez, James, that's crazy. Shout out to you. Appreciate all the comments. Helps us grow the channel. All right, final story here quickly. Let's throw up the TJ Edwards bio. TJ Edwards, he's had a rough offseason. He was one of my guys in terms of offseason losers that we talked about last week, just because of the depth that they added. And so you would think that TJ Edwards would be kind of frustrated and kind of upset because he's been one of the better linebackers Philadelphia has had in a long time. Well, according to TJ Edwards, if you believe what he said recently during these little mini camps that they've been having up at the NovaCare complex, he's excited. I mean, listen to this quote. It's awesome. Really what it is. The more depth you have, the more pieces that you have, the more you can do. We've brought in some really good additions, guys that really play football at a high level, and it just adds more to what we can do. So you look at that, and you look at that, and you look at the competition. Everybody's going to get better from that, really, end quote. So at least you're hearing the right things in terms of what TJ Edwards is saying. And honestly, when you go over the overall linebacker depth chart, it's top to bottom better. I mean, it is top to bottom better. And whether TJ Edwards gets a lot of playing time or not will depend on how well he plays. I mean, There is a scenario where Nakobe Dean struggles in training camp, and TJ Edwards is very clearly your best middle linebacker, so he plays and he starts, and that's fine by me. Like, I want Nakobe Dean to start because of the potential that he has, and the ceiling seems a lot higher. But if TJ Edwards plays great, as he did toward the latter part of the season, and you throw in all the rest of these young linebackers, White, and then you mix in, obviously, Hassan Reddick, more of an outside linebacker pass rusher, but a linebacker nonetheless, depending on what depth chart you look at. Sean Bradley can be mixed in there as well. Like, there are some good depth here, and this is the best Eagle linebacker depth chart we've seen in a very, very long time. Whether Dean starts or not is up to Dean, honestly. They're not just going to throw him out there because he's the best linebacker on a national championship game winning team. Like, it's going to be, are you ready to rock at linebacker week 1? If he is, he plays. If not, then, TJ Edwards is the guy, and I am fine with that. I will end on this. Who starts at middle linebacker, Nakobe Dean or TJ Edwards? Type D down below for Dean, or type E down below for Edwards. I don't know yet. This would be one of the camp battles to watch as training camp approaches, just a couple of months away, and we'll obviously cover that battle here, as we always do on the channel. All right, ultimate day on our Philadelphia Eagles news and rumor videos, just getting started on a Monday. Mailbag call will begin early this week, aka right now. Hashtag Eagles down below in the comments section. Must be a subscriber to be a part of Friday's mailbag video. But get your questions in now. We're going to film it a little early this week because, it's a long weekend. And some of us got to go on vacation. Not vacation, but at least have some days off. I've been on enough vacations. Overall, though, hashtag Eagles down below and get your questions submitted. Again, for Philadelphia Eagles Now and on producer Trace, doing a great job as always, we sign off. Enjoy the rest of your day.